grade 7, how have you been doing? I hope that you are ready for the AL exams. All right, now let's look at a quick review or quick revision on vocabulary and grammar for units 5 and 6 to begin with. Look at exercise A. Circle the odd ones out. Number 1, referee, plumber, builder. Referee, plumber, builder. Which one is the odd one? Or which word doesn't belong to the group? Great. Referee. A referee is a judge in sports, but a plumber and a builder, they are maintenance people, or they produce, or they have different jobs to do. Look at number 2. Cottage, attic, and garage. Cottage, attic, and garage. Which one is the different one? Great. It's a cottage. A cottage is a type of house, but an attic and a garage are parts of a house. So you could say rooms or partitions of a house, but a cottage is a type of house in general. Look at number 3. Hire, sofa, and bed. Hire, sofa, and bed. Which is the strange one? Wonderful. It's hire. To hire a taxi, for example, is kind of rented, but for a limited time. Or if you hire someone, you give them a job to do for money. A sofa and bed are pieces of furniture. 4, we've got pitch, track, and wall. Pitch, track, and wall. Which is the odd one? It is the wall. A pitch and track are kinds of play areas. People play in a pitch. They play football, basketball, and different kinds of team sports. And track is another play area, maybe for running or for other related sports. A wall, you know what a wall is, right? Look at number 5. Helmet, racket, and bat. Helmet, racket, bat. Which is the odd one? Wonderful. It's a helmet. A helmet is a safety gear which you put on your head. But a racket and bat are tools used for playing different sports, like tennis, badminton, and so on. 6, we have lift, course, and court. Lift, course, and court, which is the odd one. Wonderful. It's lift. A lift is a tool in blocks of flats and skyscrapers that you get inside and takes you to different high floors. But a course and a court are again types of areas where people play, or they are kind of spaces of sorts. Number 7, we have gymnastics, gymnastics, tournament, tournament, race, race. Which is the odd one? Wonderful. It's gymnastics. Gymnastics is a type of sport, while tournament and race are kinds of competitions. 8, we have win, succeed, and achieve. Win, succeed, achieve. Which is the odd one? Wonderful. It's win. You win something, you have to compete against others to win. But succeed and achieve are more general. When you succeed in something, you study, you practice, and then you succeed. You don't have to be in a competition with someone. Same applies to the verb achieve. Very good. Let's move on to exercise B. Complete the sentences with these words. We have do, get, go, hold, make, move, play, and take. These are amongst the most common verbs that collocate with other words to form units of meaning. Let's look at number 1. Louise has the bus to school every morning. So, which verb in the box is the correct one to be used here? Think about it for a moment. Now let's find out. Very good. All right. So, I've just shown you a glimpse of the correct answers, but now let's have a look at it once again. Now look at that. These were the answers to exercise A and explanations as well. So if you have a question like this on a test, or maybe while practicing or revising for vocabulary, you need to know why is that certain word a different one and why are the others similar, because this shows a deeper understanding of meanings, and this can help you so much in writing and speaking as well, in listening and reading. So don't forget that. Thank you. Now let's move on to exercise B. Louise has to get the bus to school every morning. So get is the correct verb that collocates with the bus. Number 2, they every weekend in a basketball team. So, which is the correct verb here? Wonderful. Play. So, they play every weekend in a basketball team. Wonderful. Let's look at number 3. It's difficult for older people to with the times. So, do you still remember this expression? Think about it for a moment. And here is the answer. It's difficult for older people to move with the times. To move with the times. Excellent. Now let's move on to number 4. If you cook dinner, aisle the dishes. So what verb comes with the dishes? Very good. It's do the dishes. So if you cook, I'll do the dishes. 5. Jess likes to a bath before going to bed. So, which verb collocates with a bath? Wonderful. It's take. Take a bath. To take a bath. Now let's look at number 6. The instructor told me to on tight to the windsurfing board. Now that's a phrasal verb. So what verb comes with on to give us a correct meaning here? Wonderful. It's hold on. If you hold on to something, it means you hold it tight. You catch it and don't let it go easily off your hand. Don't let it slip off your hand easily. It's kind of like cling to something. You cling to it, you hold on to it. Hold on has different meanings as well, but here in this lesson we have it in this meaning. Hold on, it can mean also wait for some time, but that's majorly in phone calls. Now let's look at number 7. Jamie will skiing in January. Jamie will skiing in January. So which verb goes here? Great, it's go skiing. Now we know that the verb go comes with sports that end in ing. Skiing, swimming, mountain climbing, and so on. Now let's look at the last point in this question. All members of our family, their beds themselves. So, the verb is make. Make their beds. When you make your bed, you tidy it. You keep it clean. You clean it yourself, not somebody else. Very good. Now let's move on to the following question. Choose the correct answers from A, B, or C. Let's look at number 1. Most houses in Europe are made of brick, steel, bamboo. So, what's the correct option? It is brick. It is brick. 2. I think we should the bedroom white. So, which verb is the correct one? Should A, roof, B, paint, C, clean. So, it's paint. Paint the bedroom white. When you paint something, you use colors. Now we have a color, that is white. 3, the around the house needs to be repaired. Very good. Now let's look at the options. A, cottage, B, attic, C, wall. Now read the sentence once again and understand what is missing here. So does the sentence talk about a cottage, that's a house, or a part of a house, maybe the attic or a wall? So it says here, around the house. So what goes around the house? It's a wall. Excellent job. It's a wall. 4, I met my new yesterday. What's the sentence talking about? They were very friendly. All right. A, resident. B, builder. C, neighbors. Think about it for a moment. There is a clue to the correct answer in the sentence. All you need to do is just pay a little bit more attention. So, what could be the word? It's neighbors. Neighbors is the correct one. First, because here in the first sentence, it doesn't tell us whether we need a singular noun or a plural one. But look at the second sentence here. They were very friendly. That's the trick here. So they refers back to a plural noun. Which noun here is plural? It's neighbors. If you got it correct, you're great. Now let's move on to number 5. William fell his bike and into the road. Oh, that's a painful event, isn't it? Now let's look at the options. We have of, we have off, and we have up. So, what preposition goes with fell here? Fell off. Fell off. When you fall off something, it means you collapse. All right? You stumble upon something and then you fall to the ground. Number 6. Please don't a mess in the living room. We're expecting guests. So, please don't a mess. What goes with a mess here? A, do. B, make. C, have. Please don't make a mess. So make goes with a mess. When you make a mess, unfortunately, that could be really irritating to your parents, right? Most of us do this. So when you make a mess, you basically keep everything off place. You destroy things. I hope that you are not amongst those who make a mess at home. Now let's look at number 7. We're not sure of the river here. So A, deep, B, depth, C, deepen. So what do you think is the suitable word here? These are word family. So this is a word family from the verb deep or the word deep. So it's the depth. Very good. That's the noun we need here. So we're not sure of the depth of the river here. Wonderful. 8. If the new player scores today, we win the league this year. Again, if the new player scores today, we win the league this year. So what do you think is the correct option? We have would, we have might, and then have. Read it for a moment. First of all, the sentence starts with if, so that is an if conditional. Second thing you need to notice is what type of conditional is it? Is it zero conditional, first conditional, second, third? What conditional is it? Let's look at the verb scores. So scores, is it present tense, past? What kind of tense is it? And now this will show us what we need to do in the result clause. So your answer is might. Might is the correct option because this is the first conditional and we're talking about a possibility in the present. 9. The goalkeeper pulled on his and walked out onto the pitch. A, gloves. B, net. C, helmet. So the answer is gloves. The answer is gloves. He pulled on his gloves and walked onto the pitch. 10. His brother doesn't like sports. He prefers jogging on his own. We have competition, compete, and competitive. So the correct word is competitive sports. Competitive sports. So if you've got them all correct, you're good to go. You now understand the vocabulary of the units we've studied. Great. And here are the answers. Now you can score yourself. How many did you get correct? Now let's look at the grammar part. Exercise A. Complete the sentences with will, the, be going to, or the future perfect simple of these words. It can be tricky because, again, many students find it difficult to differentiate between will and be going to, or the present continuous or future simple. It can be really confusing, but then it all depends on how accurate you study, how hard you notice things, what readings do you do. So there are many factors actually that can help you study that. So now let's look at exercise 1 or question A. 1. This time next week we in a flat in a huge block of flats. This time next week we in a flat in a huge block of flats. So we will be living or will live. We will be living or will live. All right, now take a moment, answer this, and then come back to the video to find out your answers. Very good. Now let's look at the answers here. So I think it will rain or will be great to see. So again, don't forget that we use with verbs of opinion, we use will. So I think it will. 3, look here. Will the technician have installed the new central heating system by the time the cold weather begins? So that is another option. Now here you have the correct answers, and also check your answers against these. Very good. Let's look at this exercise. Match the first part of the sentences 1 to 6 with the second part A to F. Pause the video for a moment and then answer it on your notebook and come back for the correct answers. Very good. Again, this is a quick revision for conditionals in the second, and basically that's the second. The previous part was the 0 and first conditionals. Now, here are the answers. How many have you got correct? Wonderful job. Let's look at exercise C. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. If I, and then we have be you, I would use solar energy in my house. So what could be the correct form of the verb here? If I were you. If I were you. 2, what kind of house? If you had the money. So what's the correct form? What kind of house would you buy? What kind of house would you buy if you had the money? This is the second conditional. We're talking about imaginary situations, remember? Now, 3. If you had to move house, which area you choose? So, which area would you choose? Which area would you choose? 4. If only he, and then we have the verb listen, to his coach during yesterday's match. If only he listened. 5. If it's still snowing later, if it is still snowing later. Think about it for a moment. I'll leave it with you. Now look at the rest. Take a pause. Think of the answers and then come back to find the correct options. These are the correct answers. Great. Review 4, units 7 and 8. All right, let's look at that. Despite the weather, the woman took her dog for an exhilarating dog walk or walk in the park. The archaeologists discovered 2 huge sculptures. That is the word. Jane wanted to take up cookery classes. Wonderful. Joe has been good at, and then we have painting, since he was 2 years old. The climber just didn't have the strength to go any further that day. 6. Mark has made a career out of photography, selling most of his pictures to online news sites. 7. The of the climbers was the rescue team's main concern. So the survival of the climbers. 8. He's Dutch and works in the industry, in the gaming industry. He gets to try out all the new games. Roger's very boastful. Someone who's proud of things that they do. Number 10, the explorer was exhausted. Wonderful. So, that part was not included in the, or will not be included in the exam, but it's not bad to just get to know it. So, my brother likes to show off. To show off means to brag about something. Rock climbing calls for is necessary for. The village is situated between two rivers. So when you have just two items or two groups of things, you use between. If one against many, we use among. So situated between two rivers. 4, she didn't like cooking at first, but now she has taken to it. She has taken to it. It means she's got used to it. Peter has decided to try out for the long jump team. Try out for something, that is for purpose. The hikers managed to cope with the extreme heat. Are you cut out for being the leader of on an expedition? Cut out for. Cut out for means was born ready, or are you ready to do something? I'm thinking of taking salsa dancing in my free time. Take up. To take up, start studying something. The temperature in Sweden can go, is it below or under freezing? It's below freezing. Below freezing. Some islands in the Pacific rise just a few meters above sea levels. Above sea levels. Now pause the video, write these down and try them out yourself. Now let's look at the following exercise. Just again, pause the video, try them out on your own. An amazing survival. An amazing survival. Aaron Lee Ralston. So what do you think the verb comes here? And which tense do we use? Decided. So, as an introduction to a story, we use the past simple. So, Aaron Lee Ralston decided to climb the Red Rocks near the Canyonlands National Park on Saturday, 26 April 2003. Aaron, who was an athletic 27-year-old and a very experienced climber, had been exploring Colorado's peaks for years before that fateful Saturday. That day, he was dressed in a t-shirt and shorts. He also had a backpack with a few supplies. At some point while he, very good, had been climbing over a huge rock that filled a narrow slot in the canyon, it came loose and crashed down, trapping his right forearm against the rock wall. That must have been painful. To free his arm. So what did he do? Yes, he tried to free his arm, but without success. Unfortunately, I think the rock must have been really heavy. He knew there was little hope for getting help, as he had not or hadn't told anyone. So both structures are acceptable. About his plans for that day. Aaron's conditions was becoming worse and worse every day because he very little food or water for days. So he had. All right. He knew that if he didn't do something soon, he would die. Then on Thursday morning, his 5th day in the canyon, he decided that the only chance he had to survive was to cut off his arm. He did it using a multi-tool he had with him. Imagine cutting off your arm. Even though he was in terrible pain, he managed to walk out of the canyon. He was spotted by some hikers and eventually rescued by helicopter. The rescuers were amazed at Aaron's will to live and the brave thing he had done. Wonderful. Now, answer these on your own for 3 minutes and then come back for the correct answer. Now, let's look at that. How many have you got correct? Very good. Okie doke. Now we come to the last exercise we have for today. Again, find out how you can manage to change the structure of a sentence and then keep the same meaning. So use only the words here in bold. All right? Take a few moments to think of answers and try them out yourself in a notebook, and then come back for the correct answers. Wonderful. Now, let's look at number 1. That is the correct option, may be lost. The climbers may be lost. Let's call the police. We're talking about possibility in the present or the future. That's why we use may. Now, 2, they had the ability to go on holiday last summer. Now, able. They were able to go on holiday last summer. 3, my advice is to ask your parents' permission. Ask here. Ask, you should. I'm giving someone advice. All rescuers are obliged to wear special clothes. Are obliged to is equal to had to, the past of have to or must. Now, 5. It wasn't necessary for them to find a hotel because they camped every night. Need, they did not or needn't or didn't need to find. Didn't need. It was not necessary for them to do something. I'm sure the explorers have reached their destination by now. Use just reached. So, the explorers must have reached. Must have. Strong suggestion or strong prediction. The hiker took a raincoat with him, but it didn't rain. Have. So, need not or needn't have taken. This means that he already took the coat. So the action took place already. That's why we used needn't have or need not have plus the past participle. Pay attention to this point. When an action has already taken place, we use needn't have plus the past participle. But when the action did not take place, we're talking about future action, we use needn't and the root verb directly. We have come to the end of the revision. I wish you all the best. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.